So exciting. We're live.
Hey.
We're live. It worked.
I know. Wow, that's amazing.
No technical errors this time.
Yeah,
Yay,
hey,
good job.
yeah, thank you very much. It only took half a dozen times before I figured it out. We'll see if that works next time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So I'm Matt.
Hey there, I'm Bianca.
And we're from Club Sapphire, and we're still pretty much stuck at home.
Yeah.
But we've moved up we've moved up a level, so we can kind of go out a little bit here and there, and wear the mask and do all the things, but unfortunately, lifestyle stuff is still difficult.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, like, you were actually saying to me the other day.
You are so excited about this. I think this is like the fourth time you've talked about this, but go ahead.
Oh, well, a couple things. Well, first of all, like you were telling me that you were talking to a girl and you were crushing on her.
Yeah.
And that in itself is because when it comes to Bianca being bisexual, it's very
situational.
Very bisexual. Like it has to be the right woman, and you met the right woman.
I was attracted to her. I'm not sure if or how far it will go, if ever, or if I really want it to. But I haven't really been attracted to another woman in a while.
Especially a new one. Yeah. So a new one that you met, and you're like, oh, okay. So, but it is interesting. People are starting to get a little anxious, a little ready to go lifestyle wise, because being non-monogamous, and we're very social animals anyway, but being non-monogamous, it's like we're used to playing with other people and hugging other people and kissing other people and doing all the things that we just generally do, but we can't really do that right now. But something else you had said to me the other day, just out of nowhere, you're just like, I just miss having sex with other people. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, me too.
I was getting a pedicure, and I was just sitting there, you have nothing to do but sit there, and I was like, just my mind wanders, and I'm like, man, I just really miss having sex with other people. Like, I like being with you, but variety is nice.
Right, so. Yeah, that's kind of why we do these things. So
yeah. So I think I'm missing that. And the other day too, I had mentioned that I was I feel like hugs, like we are very touchy-feely, huggy people. And it's like, some people are afraid to hug now, and it's like hugs are, to me, they're starting to become like a drug. Like, I need a drug. Because that, like, and the people that I have hugged, because I have hugged a few, it's like I hold on and I don't want to let go.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, just breathe it in because I don't know when the next one's gonna come.
Yeah, and but it is interesting that we are starting to see, from a lifestyle perspective, some people. Not everyone, of course, but some people starting to go the direction of, well, we're going to play a little bit. And so, like, there was a conversation, for example, yesterday on Facebook where we're on a lifestyle page, and people were talking about it, and someone said, how do you play while this is all going on? What do you do?
Yeah,
because some people are like, nope, I'm not going to do anything. I'm staying in my house, and I'm going to stay away from as many people as I can. But there's this other side of it too, where just like what we were talking about, where we're like really just like miss that, and it's kind of hard to explain. But it's just like it's such a part of who we are that we just kind of like crave it. And so, like, there was one couple that I had seen who actually was. I'm sorry, did you have to say something? Okay.
I mean, yeah, but I'll wait.
Okay. Thank you. Before I lose my train of thought, there was one couple who said or a few couples actually who said this. They play with another. They have like a very small group, like two other couples, something along those lines, that doesn't really go out and see other people when they're out. They have the masks and all that kind of stuff when they happen to the grocery store or whatever. But they're very a close group, even though they don't live in the same house, and they play with each other. They do their group things or whatever, and then afterward they'll actually quarantine. Everybody will quarantine for 14 days, and then by themselves or husband, wife, whatever it might be, just so they can see, did someone get sick, and I don't want to get more people sick, and that type of thing. So they're kind of stopping it that way,
which is a very responsible way to play.
Exactly, as responsible as you can be. And so it was like, oh, that's an interesting idea, and that seems to be working for them, and that type of thing has been working for other people. So whatever works. So I mean, it seems like some people are coming up with solutions as a potential new normal for the lifestyle, because we just don't know what's going to happen. And people ask us all the time, like, do you know when the club's going to open up? Do you know when people are going to start having these giant orgies again, or whatever it might be? And it's like, so much of it is just nobody really knows.
And see, baby steps in.
Because some of the clubs have been in the country or world or whatever have reopened, and then some of them have closed right back down, and it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. And there's like a big event that's happening in New Orleans, and it's supposed to happen in July. It's one of the biggest events in the country every year, and they've been trying to figure out if they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Then they pushed it back to August, and as of now, it's still going on. But who knows? Who knows? So it's tricky. So that's kind of what's going on. We've seen that a lot, and it's a interesting thing that we're looking at.
I have to wonder that. What I was going to say is, I do wonder if I was able to at least have like a gathering, like no play gathering, would that satiate me for a little while?
Well, so I a lot of people are talking about, again, lifestyle, but probably also from in vanilla world, like they will meet someone else for drinks, but social distance drinks. So they're not actually playing, they're not kissing or whatever, anything like that, but they're meeting another couple, having dinner with them, or whatever it might be, as much as they can. And that seems to be something. So whatever works. That way. So, let's see what we got.
Going out and seeing people.
Hey, Alex. He says, "Good evening. You're looking amazing. Especially Bianca is amazing." Yeah, that is a very nice outfit. I'm a big fan.
I dress up every other week when we see you guys. I dress up for you guys.
That's right. Other than that, we're just wearing pajamas all day, right?
No, I'm back at work, so I'm able to dress up a little bit, but I'm not club dress up. Like, I was thinking about that tonight while I was getting ready. I'm like, I feel like I'm getting dressed to go to the club. It feels nice. I have my music playing and taking my time getting ready, and it just felt like I was getting ready for the club, which is a nice feeling, because I do enjoy the process of getting ready to go out to the club or other events. So.
And I like watching.
Because I'm usually naked or close to naked and dancing around.
That's what she does. She can't actually get ready for anything without actually having music playing, and then just dancing type music.
Why would you want to get ready without music on?
And it does seem like when you get ready to go to Club Sapphire, or where you're ready to go, just even something like this, so that you just are like, okay, I got to put I got to push the sexy button, and so like you
I have a sexy button.
You know where my sexy button
push my sexy button.
Yeah. Okay. That you'll put some music on, and you'll just have like a sexy playlist, and then you'll just start dancing while you're putting makeup on, and I can just sit and just watch that, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay.
We should just have we should just make videos of you just putting makeup on.
Where would that be?
Oh yeah, nobody wanted to see that. Yeah.
No, why would you want to watch that?
You in your underwear dancing while putting makeup on. That would be horrible. So let's see. Okay, so let's start with some of the questions. So Michael asked, who asked who to get into the lifestyle? She was the one. She's like, I need to have 50 guys in my vagina right now.
Right now, all at once. No, I mean, I think I started off kind of like talking dirty while we were having sex about a threesome, and I noticed how receptive he was to that, and then kind of was like exploring that of like, is that something you would like to do? And then he was like, I was like, well, how do we make that happen? And we were totally clueless. So we were, do you go to Vegas and hire a prostitute? Do you what do you do? And we ended up going to a resort. We were going to go on vacation without our kids. And I said, if we're going without our kids, I want to go somewhere where kids aren't allowed. He found a place where they had a topless pool and was like, let's go there. And so we booked it, and he's like Mr. Research. He's always got spreadsheets and checking out like what's going on, and on the computer, like just looking everything up, and realized that there were swingers that go to this resort. And I was like, swingers, that's a real thing? No, but not that we were going to go into swinging or the lifestyle, but we thought, we could probably find a single woman to have our threesome fantasy with. And yeah.
But at the time too, it was, I do remember it was really kind of in my head that I was feeling, we had talked about it so much, and we had had sex online, like on camera and that type of thing, with people watching, and they seemed to like that, but we enjoyed doing it, that I remember thinking to myself, yeah, no, I feel comfortable enough in this, that if there was a guy that maybe we felt connected to, or you felt connected to, that would be okay too. And then we just ran into that, and the first time
we ended up running into a couple at the resort and had a soft swap. So oral with the opposite spouse, person, partner. And when they left, we high-fived each other, like literally, seriously. As soon as they walked out the hotel room, we high-fived each other and said, "We're swingers." And then the next morning I wake up and he's on the laptop checking out like places around us where we live. And so, yeah, that was kind of our first little steps into
and that was 8.5 years ago, something like that. Yeah, and it's interesting too, because one of the first things I found when we were still at that resort was, we're like, okay, when we go back to Washington, what are we going to do? What are we going to find? And I found this club that was in existence that was actually a big it was a converted house, like in the, I don't know, the 60s, 70s, that they had a mansion that they had converted into a swinger place, and it was just blocks from where we used to live, and we had no idea it was there.
I really didn't know this was a thing, like other than like what you was like see in porn or
movies, like, where they just,
or whatever. Like I don't even remember Eyes Wide Shut, but I remember, wasn't that about like orgies or something?
Terrible.
But like, I didn't think that this was a real thing, or if it was like this super underground thing.
Or if anything else, it was always a joke in movies or TV shows where it was like, oh, that swinger couple, and they're hitting on the main characters, or they're just kind of a joke thing, and we just had no idea like how prominent this is. Like, it's all over the place, but people just don't know. It's this whole underground world, and
underground, but not totally like underground like what I thought it was. Like with secret handshakes and knocks and stuff.
Oh, well, there's a little bit of that too. There's a little bit of that. Okay. I'll get to that question in a second. So then it was interesting because that ended up being that house ended up being a precursor to what eventually became Club Sapphire, and they've now been a club for many, many years, and that's like our home away from home, and we miss it so much.
Oh my gosh. I just want to go in there and like do snow angels on the floor. There's no snow in there.
Oh, but what were you would tell us what you were doing in there?
What was I doing in there? Teaching classes? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? I've been teaching private pole dance classes there, which is just amazing. Makes my heart so happy. One-on-one classes, and teach them a few tricks on the pole, and we spin around, and it's been so much fun. And so when I went and picked you up there yesterday, I peeked in there and you showed me the bar. The bar looks amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys, when we get to go back in there, your jaws will drop. It's beautiful.
It is amazing and hard to describe because it's so amazing. Like, it is, since the place closed in early March, it's that whole area is completely different. The bar is huge. It's got beautiful countertops. I mean, it is absolutely amazing.
I just want to say, because I've been there a couple of times since, that the vibe of Sapphire is still in there. Like, there's still, like, you walk in there and you just feel the love. You feel this vibe of just happiness, and like, it's still there. The energy is still in the room. And I know I sound like a total hippie right now, but it's true. Like, you do, like, that energy is not left. It's sitting there waiting for us to come back. So it's there's definitely, they're doing some work and stuff, so it'll be even more beautiful when we get back to it. But it's looking really good. I'm super excited for you guys to see it.
Okay, so we got two questions from Alex and Wally about single men. So Alex says, do single men do well in the lifestyle? And then Wally's the single guy who would love to get in the lifestyle but lives in a remote area and would like to know where to search out lifestyle parties and clubs. So to start out, Alex, single men can do well. That's really the best answer to that question.
That's all up to you.
It's up to you and how you act in the situation. So single guys, and we get this question probably more than anything else, honestly, are a dime a dozen. every guy wants to get laid, and they have this magical vision of what they think the lifestyle is, where they can just go in and every one of these wives are just going to be like
orgy, just on top of them, just fucking all night long.
Right. And although that can happen, it takes a bit of work to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because again, guys are a dime a dozen, and they oftentimes are potentially creepy or have jealousy issues or cross boundaries or stealth women, and we these are problems that do come up a lot. So generally, clubs do a very good job of vetting them to make sure that they're not going to cause problems to the couples, which are the bread and butter of clubs.
Right.
And obviously the most, I wouldn't say the most important or relevant, but the most common customer,
right.
Is going to be a husband and wife or a man and woman couple, although there are every other type of couple.
I do want to say real quick, because you had said that sometimes they'll stealth women, that you don't have to be a single guy to do that. Like married men will do that as well, or people in a committed relationship will stealth as well. So it's not just single guys. But I think that in order to be successful, you have to really think about what you're projecting out
Mm-hmm.
there. I think dressing really well is important, whatever that means to you and the area you're in. I'm a sucker for a suit and tie or a tuxedo, if the opportunity calls for it. If it's like hella freaking hot, not wearing a suit is better than you wearing a suit and sweating all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
manage yourself. Good hygiene.
Well, even backing up to what you're talking about, it's like oftentimes I'll wear something like this, or I'll actually have a tie to it. But then if it gets too hot, then the just get rolled up.
Sure, yeah.
There you go.
Manage yourself. We just don't want like crazy dripping sweat.
No,
That's not a turn on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once you're in the bedroom, some sweat is fine.
But you want that
yeah.
you created that sweat.
Yeah. Manage your hygiene.
But don't be creepy. I think that's kind of the number one.
And one thing that bit of advice that we always give to guys is respect the person's partner,
Mm-hmm.
who they're with. Don't just walk up to the woman and speak to her. You should show respect to her partner, because it's, he's the gatekeeper. Her partner is the gatekeeper. And if they don't feel good about you, they might say, no, you're not welcome,
Mm-hmm.
or tell her, hey, no, I'm not comfortable with you playing with this person.
Right.
So be respectful to both and talk to both of them.
Mm-hmm. And let me just add on to that. The husband or spouse is often the gatekeeper. Not always.
True.
There are a lot of couples that do a lot of things separately,
Mm-hmm.
and they just kind of do whatever their heart says to do.
But I know for me, if
Mm-hmm.
someone, like, if you didn't care,
Right.
whatever, like
Yeah.
you didn't, I don't care about your veto power. You have no veto power.
Okay.
You don't tell me what to do. I personally am not going to want to be with someone who doesn't show you some respect.
Right.
If you're standing right next to me and you're being completely ignored or shut out of a conversation or whatever, like that shows me that I'm just not into that.
Well, actually, to add on to that, we've talked to couples, and this is something they've actually, I forgot they actually wanted us to kind of mention occasionally, is that this also happens with couples too, where let's say we're hanging out somewhere, a club or an event or whatever it might be, and some other couple walks up to us and they don't really have interest in me. They're being polite to me, but they are just like, we want a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to kind of push me out of the conversation, or say, oh yeah, we're interested. And then the second I go up to the bathroom, they try to pull you in, or even worse, they bring us to the back saying, oh yeah, and it's kind of and then kind of push me out of the situation.
Switch.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's not cool. And because things are generally communicated up front, however that might be communicated. And I've heard that that's a common issue, a common problem that does come up. And that not only does that hurt a spouse's feelings, because they feel like they've been
totally left out.
They're left out, but they also potentially could feel ugly or feel like they're not attractive enough for their spouse or whatever it might be. And that's just not cool. So,
well, and it can happen with anybody though, right?
Yeah.
Like a single female could come up and talk to, either one of us, and leave the other one out and really push for it. So, I guess it goes all around the board. Just have respect for the people around you and their partners,
Sure.
and talk to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Just talk to everybody and be friendly.
Right. Yeah. So, Vipul says is looking for us on social media. What's our official handle? Well, so for social media, we're kind of all over the place. Like, so for us specifically, like our Twitter handle is everybody swing one. It's everybody swing and then the number one. And then for Facebook. Right now, because believe it or not, we've been on Facebook since the beginning of our lifestyle journey. You know, we've actually had tens of thousands of people following our Everybody Swing page, which was our original YouTube channel, and that just recently got taken down by Facebook for no reason. Just they didn't like the word swing, I guess.
Yeah.
So then I started it back up, and I did the exact same thing, and I got back up to a couple thousand followers, and they did the same thing, and they're like, yeah, no, this is very similar to another one that we took down for breaking guidelines or whatever. And there was like no nudity or anything like that. I mean, we've always been very good about that. So now it's just like literally Matt and Bianca, that lifestyle couple, is like our Facebook thing. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much. But Club Sapphire is the one to really follow because it has like a lot more stuff, and you can literally, I mean, you don't have to be in Seattle to follow it. Just Club Sapphire's Facebook page is really, really awesome. And if you're actually a member of the club, then you can, go into the private area. But even better than that is to actually go to become a member of Club Sapphire and actually join their website, because they have actually a private website for members only, and like you need to actually be a member. You have to get the passwords and all that kind of stuff, and then there's nudity in there, and there's people hitting on each other, and people connecting with each other and say, hey, we want to meet at the club when it opens, or do whatever, or do a Zoom, sexy meeting, or
sexy time on Zoom.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we've been on social media, but honestly, more than anything, if you literally just type in Matt and Bianca into Google, where you can find it. I mean,
that's how our kid found out what we do.
Yeah, well, yeah. Kind of. Yeah. So let's see. Alpha says, "Wow, Bianca has really nice hair. Should wear it down more." I agree. Let's see. Chris says he loves it. You feel the energy there, even when the place is empty.
Because it's so, yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting.
The energy is
I was in there for like a minute just to look at the bar, and it was just like, wow, yeah, like you were just like,
oh, I just want to lay on the floor and soak it up. Just soak it all up. But, I was just stroking the pole and like body rolling on the pole, and that was good too. Mm-hmm. But every time I leave there after a class, I'm just like bursting with just love and energy and just excitement, and yeah, it's fabulous. I can't wait.
All right. So Larry says, my wife and I are not in the lifestyle. We occasionally go to clubs the way people go to amusement parks to ride the rides and have fun. And then we go home. I like that.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
And your hands get sticky. And
one of the things I think for some people, like, you don't have to have sex with other people to enjoy the atmosphere at a club. It's amazing for the sexual energy. I mean, we've said this many times. There are several times that we go to the club, or there have been many times that we go to the club, and we don't play with anyone there, but we play with each other there, because you get there and you're having these conversations, and you're on the dance floor, and you're doing your thing, and then you're just like, fuck, I need to fuck you right now, and you go to the back. Like, I mean, we have a great time when we play with each other at the club. Mm-hmm. So I could totally see if we were new and starting out and we knew about all this, and we were like, let's go to a sex club. Let's see what that's about. But we're not going to have sex with anyone, but we can look. We just won't touch. I would imagine the sex would be fantastic for you guys. Like, you just, it's because it's like live porn, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
and Club Sapphire, and I'm sure a lot of the other clubs, the ones that we've been to always seem to have like little nooks and crannies where you can like have sex and still see what's going on. Like Sapphire has bunk beds where you can like kind of be by yourself in your own little bubble, but you can look over and see like the massive beds down below with everybody just.
Well, that also brings up another point, that there's also a whole other level of swinger lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, or someone who might not want to put a title on it, but that will actually just kind of do it on vacation, or
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
or they'll
Yeah,
they'll go to a club once a year. Like we always use the example, like for example, New Year's Eve and Halloween are the big lifestyle holidays. Like all the clubs sell out. I mean, it's just they're crazy. Everybody comes out, and it includes people that don't come out for anything else. Like they stay home, and they're the most vanilla couple you'll ever meet in your life, except on Halloween. They'll come out to the lifestyle club, they'll bang 50 people, and then they'll leave, and they'll be like, okay, not till next year. Or they'll go to a resort. We see that a lot too. Or the cruises, and they're like, we don't play at home because we might be prominent in the community, or we're school teachers in a small town, or where we just don't want to get outed, or something like that, or they don't think the people in their town are attractive enough. I don't know. And so they'll go on a lifestyle cruise, or they'll go to one of the resorts, and they'll just have a blast for a week and then come home and go back to their life, and that's perfectly fine. And I wouldn't necessarily say they're swingers, but they're not swingers. So yeah, who the heck knows what? Because titles are
titles are so fluid. Like I mean, we all have our own journeys within this lifestyle, right? Like I say that all the time, and you have to do what works best for your partnership and for each other. And if just having it on, I mean, that's kind of exciting though, right? To be like your normal school teacher outfit every day or whatever, but you've got summertime, you're going on this Puerto Vallarta or whatever, like some sort of fancy cruise, like or whatever, and it's this sexcation that you're gonna go on, and like, could you imagine like the leading up to that, like your sex, just like imagining what's gonna happen, and then packing,
buying stuff from Amazon,
like trying it on, be like, I'm gonna wear this on our trip. Like, I think that would be kind of sexy.
Oh, absolutely. I love it when you do it every single. I mean, we go on half a dozen trips a year. Usually, maybe not this year.
Not this year.
I love watching you pack. I love helping you shop on Amazon or whatever. Where, you're like, oh, I'm thinking about this lingerie or this lingerie, and I'm like, just get both lingerie. just do that. I don't make me decide.
I have a big collection. And it's like sometimes I'll wear something once, and it's not that I don't want to wear it again, but it's like, I need to find a way to organize my lingerie and costumes. If you know a good way to organize lingerie and costumes, let me know, because I need help.
Right. And actually, before we go to the next question, since you're all watching now, click the little like button, the little thumbs up button. That actually helps other people see who we are and all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. I always kind of forget to say that.
Okay. But you need to put like a little note.
Yeah. Say subscribe. Say click the like button. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Share it. Whatever. Okay. Okay, so the next question comes from Sam, and he says, I'm a young professional single guy in the lifestyle. What precautions to make sure you don't get outed? I'm on SLS, AFF, and Black to White, another one, all of which I hope are discreet. So those are all online lifestyle dating sites, okay? So they are places that people will connect and put a profile and put some pictures and say, hey, I'm this person or I'm this couple, whatever it might be. I want to meet other people. This is what I'm into. This is what I do. This is where I live. This is my height and weight and interests and
photos.
Soft swap, full swap, all just basically a dating site, but generally for couples, although single people are on there as well, single men and women. I'd like to say they're discreet, but it's one of those things where all it takes is one person to go, wait a minute, I recognize that guy, and be a dick about it, and and actually share it. But the thing about it is, it's like we say this about lifestyle stuff all the time. Like if you go to any event anywhere, like a large event, the odds are after you've gone to a couple of them, you're going to run into someone that you know and they know you, whether it's a coworker or a relative or someone from church or whatever. I mean, or PTA, whatever. That happens very, very often. It's happened to us half a dozen times at least over the years from people from our vanilla world. So, but we always say to them, because people are like, oh my God, I saw my coworker here, and so I had to leave. It's like, no, you didn't have to leave, because keep in mind, if you see them, they also see you, which means you have this in common and you kind of have a secret together.
Yeah.
So it's they're not going to out you because they don't want to be outed themselves, if that makes sense. Online, it's a little bit more of a question mark, because all it takes is someone paying X amount of dollars, and they suddenly have access to all these pictures and things.
Well, I think there's some precautions when you are online to take, like if you have just maybe like a body shot and then maybe a fake name or something, but then if you're talking to someone, if they're willing to look past that.
Well,
and you talk to someone, there are some of the sites I know have where you can do like give them backstage access to other photos that may include your face and that kind of stuff. I think it's really important to be very honest with your photos, because you don't want people to feel duped if you meet up. You know, yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being honest. Be proud of who you are, no matter who you are and what you look like. Like there's someone for everyone. And I think, you know, just having that confidence and being proud of who you are is very sexy.
Right. But even, you know, to add to what I was saying, that like what I like about, like, for example, like I had mentioned Club Sapphire's back in type of thing where people do put pictures of everything, that the fact that they have to be members of the club, which means they've signed a confidentiality agreement, makes a big difference. I mean, we've, you know, not we, but the club has actually seen their driver's licenses. I mean, there's, you know, there's this huge extra level of security that makes people more comfortable. And as far as I've heard, they've never had an issue with that. But websites like SLS, and SLS is fine, whatever. They're the biggest in the world, but their technology is a bit outdated, and so, you know, I know they've had potential issues in the past. So just, you know, be aware of that. But I from what you're saying, I mean, I do think that having a face on your profiles is very important. A lot of people, especially couples, will put pictures of the wife. They'll put her body, she'll be naked, all this kind of stuff,
so frustrating,
and no pictures of the guys at all. And, you know,
like, I want to know what he looks like.
At the very least, maybe, you know, if his face is grayed out, you can kind of get a body type or a height or something out of it.
But at some point, it's best to be able to send in. I mean, you want to say, if I'm showing a picture of my face, I want to eventually see your face sooner than later. I don't want to meet up with someone who I haven't really seen their face. I want to know who I'm going to be meeting at the bar or wherever, the club. I can't look at everybody like this, from what you look like from the neck down. You know? Yeah, so I think having face shots is extremely important, because we all are attracted to different people, and, you know, like, yeah.
So, okay, next question comes from Katie, and Katie says, "Have either of you ever played with one of your viewers?" Come on over, Katie.
Actually, we have.
Oh, I was going to say Katie. She seems nice.
Was it when we? We did.
Oh, we have. Well, we have quite a few times.
I can just think of the one time, but I'm sure we have more. But yeah, we were at a Halloween party once.
Oh, this was the first time. Okay,
Yeah.
so sure, yeah. Well, that was so years ago. Before we were, no, it wasn't before we were doing video, but we were doing an audio podcast because that was kind of the growing trend at the time. We don't personally do that anymore, just because.
Although I prefer it, because then I don't have to do all this.
Just in the morning, drinking coffee.
Or vodka.
Yeah. Okay. But it just doesn't have the same amount of followers generally that video does. But nobody ever wants to do video, so that's why we do this. But yeah, we have. I have quite a few times, but which is kind of awesome. But yeah, I do remember that the first time that we did that with our podcast, like we were at a big house party, like 200 people at this house party, and like a friend of ours comes up and goes, "There's this other couple that wants to talk to you, but they're like nervous to come up and talk to you." And we're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because you guys are Matt and Bianca." We're like, "Yeah, that just, you do know that anybody could be on YouTube, right?" But we're podcast listeners, and you know, we're like, yeah, of course, we go up to them and we start talking to them, and we just totally hit it off, and they were a super hot couple, and we played with them and had a great time.
The one disappointing part was we were dressed as Doctor Who characters, and apparently they were huge Doctor Who fans, and everybody at the party was like, "What are you dressed up as? Dr. what?" We're like, "No, you should watch the show." And apparently they were huge fans of the show. And so we ran up to them like, "Hi, who am I dressed up as?" And they were like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Fuck you. This sucks. But okay, we'll go play with you." Like,
okay.
Dang it.
I'll get over it.
I'm never going to dress as Doctor Who again.
Yeah.
Sexy Doctor Who.
And you know, yeah, no, it's fine. So there's an example that I can use. That there was a woman who was a fan of us, but what came up to me and was very, very forward as someone who was just like attracted to me, and as a guy, we don't get that. We don't, as you see already from the comments on here, that everybody's like, "Oh my God, Bianca's so hot." Bianca, that's normal, and occasionally, yeah, I do get compliments too. But to hear that from a perspective of a female fan of like, wow, I'm like attracted to it, like a guy, as a guy, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. You can put me back, okay. I have no issue with that. So it's a really good feeling when guys hear compliments, because guys don't hear them very often. So
I don't compliment you enough, do I?
oh no, you that's right, you don't.
Oh.
No, compliment me more. Yeah, so it does happen occasionally here and there, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah,
You love it.
I do. It feeds my ego too.
Yeah.
William says, doing on the club will open hopefully soon, or
just keep posted.
oh yeah, someone else actually said the same thing. Michael says, once we enter phase 3, would Sapphire open their doors, and if so, what changes? Can the new normal affect the lifestyle? Maybe reverse cowgirl or dog.
Smart.
Reverse cowgirl.
These are the only positions you can perform. Wow.
They put the mattresses like every 6 feet away. And
instead of a masquerade, it's just a mask.
So have you seen? It's kind of a thing now on social media where people are making jokes. They're like these. It's like a plastic bubble that goes on you, and like you can walk around. Like someone actually took a picture of someone camping, and they were like wearing these while camping. It was like you're outside, you're only around your family, but you're wearing these plastic bubbles, and it was but yeah, you just have that, and you just unzip the bottom, and then
that's so hot.
Climb aboard. And
how do you maneuver in that and like get your like
and
your flow?
Plus your little bubbles get
and then you're like
steamed up,
crazy sweaty. And I just can't imagine feeling sexy in that. I would bejewel mine though, for sure. I put glitter all over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, if you missed it, but yeah, the club is anxious to open, as is everybody else, but I mean, obviously they're being as safe as they can be, as the lifestyle just happens to be one of those things that we're like this extra level of, oh, you meet random people and you make out with them. It's like, yeah, that's a tricky one when it comes to all of this. And so they're, being patient and all that. But I know they have been talking about different plans of, when to get into when we get into phase 3, and is, you can have the groups up to 50 and all that. Right. Like, are they taught what does that mean? What are they going to do? I know there was rumors of potentially like having what do you call that? The parking lot, tailgate the tailgate party, because then you're outside and you can keep the distances and all that, and you can be social and do all the things you can.
I would imagine that they don't ever stop thinking and talking about it. Mm-hmm. Like it's on their mind probably more than it's on your mind. Like they're just as anxious to open up and get everybody in there and having fun as we are anxious to get in there and have some fun and feel up that energy that's in there.
Yeah. So keep an eye out. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll mention things.
We're gonna host like a big huge as soon as we are, probably. Like, I don't know. I just made that up now. So
well, we'll be there. Whatever it is, we'll be there. We're scratching on the windows. We're doing that open. So as everybody else is doing. Yeah. All right. So let's see what else we got. Bobby wants to know, hi, do you like hairy men?
How hairy? I don't know. Like, I don't know, Bobby, how hairy? I mean, for me, personality is so important for me that like it trumps a lot of things. So I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't bother me, I guess, if you had an amazing personality and you were really good in bed. Like, yeah.
I mean, some people have hair, some people don't. Well, that brings up an interesting question that we.
Yeah. However, we just back up a little bit here. If you want me to go down on you, like you might want to trim a little bit, like big hairy with your dick hanging out like that. Like you don't want to pull pubes out of you.
Now remember, the less pubes you have, the bigger your dick looks.
Yeah. So that's the only place that I really care about. Like, I think I would want it trimmed at least a little bit, maybe a little manscaping going on.
Okay.
Other than that,
Well, yeah, that's where I was going with that. Is like, what about like pubic hair? Because that's one of those things that some people do, some people don't. At least what I've seen, and as a connoisseur of porn myself, there definitely has been some growth of people having women having pubes again. I have not seen that in men, but again, porn is not real life, but so much of what we all consider sex comes from that because it's so prevalent in so many people's lives that they get this concept of what sex is, what orgies are, what swingers are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That I think a lot of that does stem from that.
Well, and let me ask you, Bobby, what do you think about hairy women? I mean, that's something that I always kind of think of too.
Hairy pubes or hairy legs?
Right. So if I have to landscape every fucking thing, I expect my partner to maintain some sort of order wherever. So yeah, I mean, like I said before, if you're just mind your biology and I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, so I think it goes back to what you were saying before. It's like there's nothing wrong with being hairy. There's nothing wrong with being overweight. There's nothing wrong with this. It takes all kinds.
Yeah.
But you are still kind of, you're dressing to impress.
You're like dating.
You're like dating. So what would you do in a dating world if you feel confident in being a hairy person or whatever? Okay.
Throw your shit.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We go to Hedonism once a year, which is a nude resort, sex resort down in Jamaica, and there are very hairy guys there, and there are very smooth guys there. It just depends on what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with either one of those things. But just keep that in mind. If there are some women that might be turned off by a hairy back or whatever it might be, or pubes, then you might be limiting yourself. But does that matter? Does that really matter?
I think
you should be you.
For me, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for me, I just want to know that my partner cares as much about their maintenance as I care about mine.
Yeah.
And I'm not crazy high maintenance. I may act it or talk it, but just like I said, keep your nails trimmed and looking nice, and just look nice when you go in there, and make sure you've showered and put on deodorant and all the stuff that you're supposed to do, and then let it happen from there.
Yeah. You've been with hairy dudes.
I don't think you should change who you are.
Yeah.
Like, don't be someone else. Be yourself. That's so important. It's just be you. That's the sexiest thing.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see what else we got. How do you guys feel about videos playing? I'm torn because there's so many videos out there that it would be hard to find your video, even if it was posted online or something. How do you guys feel about videos of playing? I didn't quite get that. I don't think there's anything wrong. It's hard to find your video, even if it's. So I think the question really boils down to, like, is he okay, or I'm sorry, D, be okay with having
lighting is
having the sun finally came out in Seattle. Having your videos online, like if you
videos,
like not us specifically, if you had just sex videos or group videos or whatever it might be, having those online and being concerned about them being out there where people can see you or find you.
I mean, that's on you. Like, would you be okay with that?
But realistically, your argument is the case where it's like the odds. I mean, if you had a video, for example, one video of you guys and your faces were clear and all that kind of stuff, and you posted it on Pornhub or whatever, and the odds of someone seeing it are probably pretty minuscule considering of the hundreds of millions of videos that are out there. However, that's not saying no.
Right.
And who's to say that someone doesn't go, oh my gosh, that was such a video, share, and suddenly, because I have heard stories like that, where someone does put their porn online, and there's, it's interesting because I've actually, again, as a connoisseur, I definitely noticed that there are some people who actually will put amateur porn, their own porn, out there, but take the faces out. Like the shots will always be, kind of below. You can see you're blonde, but you don't see the face, type of thing. And they'll edit it out so that you can see the body and you can see a bit in the back of the head and all that kind of stuff, but you're not seeing the actual face.
And when we first got into before we were even in the lifestyle, our first baby steps into everything, we did some online the very first time he brought it up was like, hey, would you want to give me a blowjob in front of people online? And I was like, okay, but you can only show like this part of me. That's
the mouth.
The mouth and your dick. Like, I don't care how much of your dick you show, but this is all you get to show me. And then we did it, and I was like, well, that's kind of hot. Okay, you can show from here to here. The next time. And then at one point he was like, well, why don't would you want to have sex online? And I was like, okay, but it has to be doggy style, and you can't show any of this, like no me, like, and like it has to be a good position, the lighting has to be right, like
okay
and I was okay with that. And then I got more into it. And then I became a cam girl, and we used to have sex online all the time.
That's right. We used to have this is where it gets interesting. Okay, and this, which actually connects to this. So we would have sex online, and we'd be pay to watch us and all that kind of stuff. We did that for I don't know, a couple of years, something like that, and we really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Then we got in the lifestyle. And then we started doing these videos, and there were a couple of times over the years that we've done these videos. I remember there was one person who was like, I've seen that couple before. I used to watch them on this website. And that website was like, we did for like 2 months, like 6 years earlier. And it's like, wow, it's like we were that memorable. I do remember we did talk like this during stuff. So it just it was also very funny.
I can never be totally
entertaining.
serious.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Ever.
It wasn't just the sexy time. Yeah, because we joked.
I remember once we were at the mall. And it was during Christmas time. We were getting our kids Santa pictures, and the guy who was like taking our money or whatever was like, to me, was like, "You look so familiar," and I was like, "Huh." Okay. I walked away. I'm like, I'm not gonna end this conversation. We're just done. But I mean, I've got videos out there. I used to do really bad. Like, he would videotape me doing really bad made-up porn.
Oh, it was amazing.
It's awful. It's awful. And I wish he would delete it. But, I mean, as far as I know, nobody's.
Yeah, I don't know.
I never met anybody that was like, oh, my gosh, I saw you. Or nobody that was like, oh, I saw that one.
Yeah, no.
So, probably fine.
Probably fine. Like it matters. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see. What are you laughing at?
You go to a nude beach, you still have to wear your mask.
That's true, huh? You go to a nude beach, you have to wear your mask. Yeah, well, yeah. How about guys with long hair? You like guys with long hair? They're just going through the list of guys like, what can I do to eventually end up banging Bianca?
Wear a tuxedo.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker. Okay, so you guys probably all, like guys, I'm talking men, usually typically prefer like lingerie, something sexy, like you're like, that's what turns you on, right? For me, it's a tuxedo or a really nice suit. So there you go. We were on a cruise once, and apparently there were 2 guys that were wandering around the pool deck looking for me wearing tuxedos, and they had cocktails. They were trying to find me and bring me a cocktail because I like vodka. So yeah, and I never saw them. I was so sad, but like I saw them later. But I would have loved that. That would have been so amazing to be like just lounging at the pool topless and have a guy walk up to me in a tuxedo and hand me a cocktail. I would have just died. That would have been amazing. Yeah.
You would have liked that, and you'd be telling that story for years.
I would. I'm still telling the half story.
Okay, let's see what else we got. Surely everybody wants to get in bed with you guys. How do you filter it out? I wish. If only we're
not as cool as you think we might be.
Yeah. But I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh no, we fuck everybody. We filter it out the same way you would. You know, I'm not gonna have sex with someone I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
And I tend to be. He can never figure. We don't do a lot of online vetting and dating and that, because I never get online. I never get on the websites. I'm just too busy with all my other things. And he's online a lot more, and he'll go on and do stuff. And in the beginning, you would go on and be like, oh, like, here's this hot couple. And I'd be like, For me, online is so difficult because I'm so into personality. Like that for me is like so important that you win me over with personality. So, you know, That's how I vet people. Like,
Mhm.
if you've got a good personality and you're not shy around me, because I'm really shy and totally clueless. So you have to let me know that you're interested in a respectful way.
Yeah. All right. So Neo says, Matt, since everyone focuses on B, what do you like? Wow, no one. We've done 100 and some odd videos, and no one ever cares. No one ever cares. So you are now my favorite watcher ever. So thank you. Boobs. Okay. Next
Yeah,
question.
he's done. Schoolgirl.
Schoolgirl.
Schoolgirl. What were we just talking about yesterday? We were like, we were driving home from my pole class. I was teaching at Club Sapphire, and I was in yoga pants and my clothes for working out, and we were talking about going out to dinner, and I was like, oh well, let me go home and change. And you were kind of like, but I like the yoga pants. I don't know. Well, what are you going to change into? We were like talking about like what he likes the best, and he's like, what did you say was top? Was it lingerie?
Sports bra and a yoga
No,
shorts
it wasn't what you said. I think it was just lingerie.
I
was like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And Schoolgirl is like his favorite. Luckily, Schoolgirl night is always around your birthday. So he ends up having like his perfect birthday at Club Sapphire because they have Schoolgirl night that night.
And
it's not just me dressed up like that, it's everyone dressed up like that.
And if you've never been there on a birthday night, which is most Saturdays, honestly, someone's having a birthday, they'll actually bring the person out there, put them on a chair, and then everybody who wants to lap dance on that person, and they're just like sitting there going, oh,
yes, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's super fun. You've been in that.
I think every single time I go up and lap dance for people because I love to. I want to celebrate your birthday.
But so this actually goes into the question that there. I see another question that Will is asking that kind of connects with it. You mentioned being good in bed. Do women in the lifestyle mean being a dominant bull and eating pussy well? I feel like women in the lifestyle like rough sex with partners and intimate sex with spouse. Okay, so now this is actually why I feel this is what connects with me on the question about what I like. Yes and no. Women like what they like, right? Okay. So yes, there's going to be women that are pound, but I have found that I like, and I have found that there have been numerous women that have wanted to play with me more than once because I don't do that. Because I like to be very sensual. I used to be a massage therapist, so I'm very much doing this type of thing and rubbing. I was with a woman 3 or 4 years ago, and after we had played with each other, we were just lying on the bed while you were with the guy, her boyfriend or whatever, and I'm just like massaging her back, right? And then didn't see them again for a couple of years, and then like a couple of years later, I ran into her and I'm talking to her. She's like, I remember playing with you because you gave me a massage, and it was like, oh, okay, it's
out.
But like I when it comes to like playing with other people, like foreplay is very important to me. I like to go ridiculously slow, which is what we talk about like when we say that it's difficult for us to do like same room, the four of us, because of different speeds of play. Like I personally, if I connect with a woman and we really connect well, I will like to play with her for like a couple of hours. And it's not just 2 hours of having sex. That's ridiculous. It's 2 hours of just connecting, and there's sex, and there's kissing, and there's oral and chit-chatting and rubbing and touching and going back at it and doing it again and again and again. And I think and I know that there have actually been some women that have said to me over the years, they're like, you're so sensual, like they're surprised because they run into that. They run into this assumption that they just want to be pounded by random guys, and the only sensuality they get is with their spouse. And
I think that's something, I mean, you guys bring up a good point in that I think that's something that is just people just assume within the lifestyle. Because I know I've been with guys who, they don't realize that I want that slowness, that, because I would prefer something more sensual, and I'm fine with it taking off slowly and, chatting a little bit, or, like playing for a little bit and then, stopping for a while and chatting and getting back to it. And so it's a little bit of the sensual is really nice for us.
Yeah.
Once in a
absolutely. Has any of the guys that wore a tux for Bianca ever gotten lucky?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, seriously. It's like she sees a guy in a tux and he comes up and talks to her and she's like, this smile right there on her face right there. She's drooling. She's just like, and it doesn't matter what the guy looks like. It doesn't, someone else had asked about, looks, and it's just like, she's very much into the package as far as the guys that are trying and the guys that are actually like hitting on her and the guys that are actually like making her feel attractive to them is what makes she's putty. They're putty, whatever.
You want a little hint? You want to go up an even higher level?
Oh, yes, actually.
Tie your own bow tie.
Oh
my god. I was with a guy once. We were on a cruise and he wore a tux every single night to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Every single night.
Mm-hmm.
And he went out of his way.
He knew you. Yep.
He's one of the ones that walked around the deck looking for me.
Mm-hmm.
He knew, or he asked me out on a date. Matt was busy with someone else, and so he and I had like an actual date. We went to dinner. He specifically asked for a table just for two. He did.
Oh, smooth.
Yes. He we went and wandered around the ship. I think we went and watched a show. We went into one room and he did stuff in there, like in where you're not supposed to. And when we went back to his room, watching him undress and take that tie off was like the best foreplay. But then watching him get dressed and retie the bow tie, I mean, he might as well have just left it on the floor. Off and on. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, now I need to learn how to tie a bow tie.
Yeah.
Bow ties. Okay. Yeah.
Just YouTube it.
Well, no, it's not that.
Hard.
It's not bow tie. I'm not a big bow tie fan.
When you wear a tuxedo, you wear
I do.
a bow tie.
You're right. I do. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we got. This is interesting.
Oh, and by the way, he was not the first guy in a tux. One of our first parties we went to, there was a guy in a tux. Like it was our first couple we'd ever played with. One of the first couples we'd ever played with. And he was wearing a tux. And
Okay.
So wear a tuxedo. We should have tuxedo Tuesdays. I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Where you eat tacos and I just wear a tuxedo
Oh
and
my
just
God,
deliver the tacos
amazing.
to you.
Can we please do that?
Yes.
That would be the best. I love tacos and tuxedos.
Okay. So this is an interesting one. I know that you two have a girlfriend and boyfriend. Do you ever double date? So right now we don't. Right now we're single-ish.
Single married?
Single married. I don't know what you call that.
We're sort of monogamous right now.
Right. And Taco Tux Tuesdays. However, I was thinking about when I saw that question come. Do you remember? So when you had a boyfriend and I had a girlfriend, and we tried to get them together. So
yeah, that was bad.
Not a good idea. So when we first got into the whole poly world, like the concept was, I get a girlfriend and you get a boyfriend, and wouldn't it be amazing if they connected as well? And then we had this quad of happiness and so, but that's so unrealistic because
we're not matchmakers. We didn't even consider the fact that they are fucking polar opposites.
Polar opposites.
Further away than meat eater versus vegan, and just angry about it.
Yeah, right. Exactly right.
And then you try to make them together, and it's just like oil and water.
Yeah, no, that's right. Times. They were she was like super hippie, and he was like a gun nut. And it was just like, well, no, but he was, they were just like, she also wasn't super hippie either. I mean, they were just polar opposites. And it was like, and we were playing in the same room. We had our own little event, and they came and visited us, just the four of us. And then, like I was having sex with her and you were having sex with him. And then I was like, so you want to swap? And she's like, okay. This guy.
I think he was kind of like, really?
Yeah, right. Like it was just,
it's uncomfortable because you're like,
which is interesting because you would think, I just want to have sex with everybody, but it's like, in situations like where there's actually more to it involved than that, it just, you were either attracted to somebody or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were not.
They were not. They were not.
Not
So
even a
then
little.
so after that, we were just like, that's just never gonna work. That's just never gonna. We might be dating some people that might play together, but to actually be at the point of that they would actually like be more than that was just unrealistic. It was just the way we're dating now. If we were since we're clean slate or not clean slate, so since we're
Back on the market.
back on the meat market when everything opens up again, theoretically, because we've talked about this, that if ideally with the situation, and this has been the situation since day one, honestly, if we actually were able to find a couple together,
well,
and
we always find couples that we work together with that live like in far away states.
Yeah.
You know, that's the hardest part. They're not local.
Yeah,
because kind of be local couples.
Because that's the ideal. Because we found a couple of couples over the years where we met them on a cruise or something like that, and we hit it off like you wouldn't believe, and they came and visited us, and
I went and visited them.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff, and but they just live so far away that that's just not realistic to actually have a relationship with.
No.
So but if that ever happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. Whatever.
But I mean, we're not opposed to like going far away to Florida or whatever for a play date, play weekend.
I think the last question I'll answer is except for Matt can teach it. I can teach a class in tying a bow tie. That's right. Yeah. If I gotta learn how to do it, but that's good. Yeah, because that's if you want to get into Bianca's panties, that's how you do it.
Bianca's G-string.
Last question: is Sapphire a good entry point for a single newbie to visit? So yes, is the answer to that question. If but single newbie, there's of course single guys, single girls, men, women. Sorry, single men, single women, and single men. It's a good place to do it. Is it a perfect place to do it? It's hard to say because it depends on what your goals are. For example, they have as if you were a single male, you have to go to a Wednesday night intro to swinging type thing, intro to being a single guy lifestyle thing that they do, which is smart because they basically teach you all the rules, they teach you how it works, teach you
tell you the things like we told you, but in more detail, more depth.
Yeah, not be creepy. And then after that, if you want to, then you can stay that night and pay and do that party that night, and then potentially come back. And they keep the parties even as far as the single, so only so many single men, depending on how many single women show up to make the whole party even. But they also have gangbang night. So and that's a very popular night with the single guys because they'll just let many in, and because that works. The women that come to that night might want numerous guys. I think the record, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but the record woman, she had like 40 some odd guys one night. I don't remember exactly what it is. 42, 45, something like that.
But I didn't. I don't remember.
Which is amazing. So yeah, there is those potentials, but obviously, they have like a big thing where you meet people beforehand in like the party atmosphere, and the women, if she thinks you're all right, will give you a wristband, and that allows you to eventually go into the room where she will be playing later on and get in line to do all the things. So as of course as a single woman, it's a spectacular place because of the safety involved with it. Being a woman, I mean, I can't speak as a woman, of course, but I mean, being a woman in dating world is tricky anyway, especially if you're in a situation where you really just want sex, where you're gonna run into guys that are potentially creepier, bigger problems, or whatever it might be, than if you were actually trying to date like for a future husband or whatever. And so if you come, and I hear this from women all the time, you come to Club Sapphire, you're going to feel safe because everybody's protective of her. She's obviously going to be very popular because everybody wants a single woman.
I want to say, I do want to say, the volunteers at Club Sapphire are fabulous because there was one time I wasn't, and I'm not a single female, and I was standing with you talking to someone, and there was a volunteer that was walking around, and he could read our body language and knew that we were uncomfortable with the situation, and we were concerned about the person, and he was on it, and he was making sure and check in and keeping an eye, and so they keep an eye on everyone. They want to make sure everybody's having a good time and everybody's safe, and yeah, I mean, we always have a great time when we're there. We always feel really happy and comfortable and safe, and it's fun.
And we miss it. We can't wait to go back. And soon it'll happen. So, but in the meantime, like I said, you can go to www.clubsapphire.net, and you can check out like there's, like I said, if you're a member, you can look at all the pictures, you can talk to everybody, all the other members that also live in the area, and connect that way, and maybe meet for 6 feet away dating, or do something else like I talked about earlier.
They are hosting online parties too. I don't know of the next date. I haven't told of the next date. I'm sure they'll have one in July at some point. But the online parties are really fun. It's typically $25 for single males, $25 for single females, or $50 for a couple. And usually they have performers, pole dancing and whatever. Last time I did a bunch of different dances, like just where you could normally do it, you know, like in the doorway, or
and they have a sexy room. They have a sexy room, and they have games and all that kind of stuff. But they also have, you know, during the week, they also have online Zoom meetings. Like Mondays, for example, they have men in lifestyle meet. Our good friend Paul hosts that, and he does a really good job keep the conversation going and talking to men about problems they might have with the lifestyle, or their spouse issues, or a problem that someone had. They're really, really good. I've gone to that quite a few times, and it's really awesome. They do that on Thursdays, and Becky,
women on Thursdays, men are on Mondays.
Women on Thursdays, and Becky, one of the old one of the contestants from Miss
Sapphire. She was Miss Sapphire, and then Miss Swimsuit in Jamaica.
Yeah. She hosts that, and as far as I'm aware, and they also have Wednesday night is the big night that anybody can go on that are members, and it's just happy hour, and people are talking and chatting and doing all the things that way. And they also have other classes that are going on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays.
So you can check out their calendar, but it's nice to stay connected.
Yeah. So do that. So do that.
You don't have to wear a mask when you're online.
Exactly.
Unless you're into that. I mean, I'm not judging. Like, if you're into that, you do that.
Yeah. So, let's see. Anything else we want to say? So make sure you do like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. We really appreciate. We appreciate you guys. We miss you guys. Those of you that do come to the club, and we can't wait to see you.
We're just waiting for it to open, and we'll be there with open arms for the crack hugs. That's what I'm calling them now, crack hugs.
Right. And William asked how to become a volunteer. Just go to the website. Go to clubsapphire.net, and there's an email address, and you say, hey, I want to be a volunteer, and they'll get you on the list. Or I think they have a setup where you have to go to learn how to be a volunteer. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know the specifics. But volunteering is awesome there, and they work off of volunteers. We need all the volunteers we can get there.
And the volunteers are fabulous too. Yep. So.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to do this again until eventually we are all allowed to go outside.
Yeah.
So
if you're local and you want to learn pole dancing.
Oh yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah.
It's on the website.
It's on the website. It has those, and
the
she
link
does that
to my booking software. So
Perfect.
Saturdays.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.